Little People, Big World. Jacob Roloff credits Disgust for 10-year-old exit from family's show. Afuda Bamadel, 2, April 1st, 2025, at 12:45 a.m. GMT +6, 5 minutes read. Jacob Roloff is not sugarcoating his feelings about his family's reality show Little People, Big World. A decade after stepping away, he is making it clear that feelings of distaste fueled his exit. Jacob, who married Isabel Sophia Rock in 2019 in a wedding held at Roloff Farms, has long distanced himself from reality TV. Meanwhile, his brother Zach Roloff and sister-in-law Tori later followed in his footsteps, officially confirming their departure from the show in 2024. Jacob Roloff's new life now away from Little People, Big World. In a candid Instagram post filled with moments on the property, he acknowledged the irony of still living and working on the land that once made him famous. A decade after stepping away, he revealed that his departure was fueled by a deep sense of disgust for the show and reality television as a whole. This spring marks 10 years since I got my money from the show I was on for over 10 years of my life. I was 18 and finally had the agency to not sign the contract, so I didn't, and promptly left home, mostly due to disgust for the show and reality TV in general, he wrote in the caption. Jacob, now a husband and father, has built a new life on the farm, one without cameras. In his words, "Now, I am grateful to live here at Roloff Farms, as an adult with my wife and son, growing things and stewarding the land. Certainly it has been insightful these last 4 years in a lot of ways, both materially, learning equipment operation, my own growing style, the systems for farming, etc. And retrospectively, what is the farm without a TV crew? What can the farm be without TV?" The doting father shares his vision for a more community-focused Roloff Farms. The 28-year-old has big dreams for the future of Roloff Farms, and they do not revolve around reality TV fame. In the lengthy caption of his post, Jacob shared his thoughts on what is next for the family farm, emphasizing a shift toward local engagement rather than mass tourism. "Pumpkin season is no doubt still huge for us, and we appreciate those loyal folks who make it out every year," he wrote. "My dream would be that our farm can encourage a more localized community space instead of so heavily relying on out-of-town tourism." With farmland across the country disappearing, he concluded his message by pointing out the importance of preserving and protecting the land. "Farmland is sacred now," he noted, adding, "I am grateful for the opportunity to be where I am to steward this land the best I can. Always learning and growing. I can only hope we have this farm for another generation." Jacob Roloff's ties to Roloff Farms run deep. Jacob may have left Little People, Big World in 2015, but his connection to Roloff Farms remains stronger than ever, especially since it is the place where he tied the knot. The star married his longtime love, Isabel Sophia Rock, in 2019 at the family's Oregon farm, surrounded by loved ones. The special day was filled with heartwarming moments, with family members who regularly appeared on the show coming together to celebrate. The blast reports that family patriarch Matt Roloff shared multiple photos and videos from the wedding, capturing the joy of the occasion. One particularly sweet clip showed 2 young children tasked with carrying signs down the aisle, getting a little stage fright, only for their parents to step in and encourage them to finish their walk. Zach and Tori Roloff officially say goodbye to Little People, Big World. Jacob's exit from the show in 2015 may have set the stage for change. Nearly a decade later, his older brother, Zach, and sister-in-law Tori followed suit. The couple confirmed on their podcast, Raising Heights, that they would not return for season 26 of the long-running TLC series. Jacob's exit from the show in 2015 may have set the stage for change, and nearly a decade later, his older brother Zach and sister-in-law Tori followed suit. The couple confirmed on their podcast, Raising Heights, that they would not return for season 26 of the long-running TLC series. Before making it official, Tori had already dropped clues that her family's time on the popular show was coming to an end. During a Quanda session on Instagram in November 2022, the Blast noted that a fan asked whether she and Zach would ever step away from filming. Tori's response was simple but telling, yes, without elaborating. The following month, another fan asked how long the couple planned to stay on TV. Tori responded, "I think our time is definitely coming to a close, but we're trying to enjoy it while it's here." While Zach was once in talks to take over the family land in season 22, negotiations fell through, adding to the growing tensions behind the scenes. For Jacob Roloff, the future of Roloff Farms is about more than business. It is about sustainability and connection. Jacob Roloff reveals how he's rebuilt his life 10 years after Little People, Big World exit and abuse allegations. Years after leaving the TLC series, he alleged he was molested by a former producer. By Zoe Little, published on March 31, 2025, 5 p.m. EDT, Jacob Roloff and his son. Photo, Jacob Roloff, Instagram. Jacob Roloff is reflecting on how his life has evolved since he left his family's reality show, Little People, Big World. The former TLC star, 28, took to Instagram to acknowledge contradictions in his world, namely living on his family's farm despite separating himself from the series. He discussed the subject in a lengthy caption alongside photos out in the pasture, which feature his wife, Isabel Rock, and their 3-year-old son, Mateo Thomas. Skip to content. People. Subscribe. It's finally here. Download the iOS People app. Celebrity. Influencers. Jacob Roloff reveals how he's rebuilt his life 10 years after Little People, Big World exit and abuse allegations. Years after leaving the TLC series, he alleged he was molested by a former producer. By Zoe Little, published on March 31, 2025, 5 p.m. EDT. 3 comments. Jacob Roloff and his son. Photo, Jacob Roloff, Instagram. Jacob Roloff is reflecting on how his life has evolved since he left his family's reality show, Little People, Big World. The former TLC star, 28, took to Instagram to acknowledge contradictions in his world, namely living on his family's farm despite separating himself from the series. He discussed the subject in a lengthy caption alongside photos out in the pasture, which feature his wife, Isabel Rock, and their 3-year-old son, Mateo Thomas. This spring marks 10 years since I got my money from the show I was on for over 10 years of my life. I was 18 and finally had the agency to not sign the contract, so I didn't, and promptly left home, mostly due to disgust for the show and reality TV in general. Roloff wrote in his post shared on Sunday, March 30th. I used that money to build my world back again with my wife, rather than capitalize on it for all it was worth, for better or worse. Roloff previously addressed his departure from LPBW in an Instagram post from July 2016. I get comments on here all the time about how people miss me on the show, or telling me I should do a few more episodes with the family. I'm posting this to say that that will never happen, he wrote at the time. I am with my family and I love them. I'm just here to say you'll never see that from me on TV again. Jacob Roloff and his son on family farm. Jacob Roloff, Instagram. The Roloff family. All about the Little People, Big World stars. He also referenced his time and salary on the show in a May 2022 post on X, formerly Twitter. People don't realize I was paid roughly $6 per hour to be filmed for my whole childhood, he wrote on the social media platform. I'm still called rich derisively LOL. I wish I went scorched earth, but I value family. I wish I kept filming, but I value my principles and my soul. Life is complicated. In December 2020, Roloff opened up more about his experience on LPBW and alleged that he was molested by Chris Cardamone, a former producer on the show, from 2007 to 2010. It is often much easier to think about things than it is to talk about them, and so this disclosure has been delayed, but through that delay I have found the fortitude and words, Jacob wrote on Instagram at the time. As a child, after what I realise now was a long grooming process, I was molested by an executive field producer for Little People Big World, Chris Cardamone. I choose to disclose it now as it remains a traumatic memory that needs to be exorcised of any further power over my development, Jacob continued in his post. I am certain that this is a positive moment for me and another step toward a brighter future. At the time, Cardamone did not respond to people's request for comment, and TLC told people in a statement. TLC was just informed about an alleged encounter that occurred years ago involving a third party connected to the production of Little People, Big World. We are saddened and troubled by this very serious allegation, and TLC will work cooperatively with the authorities. Jacob Roloff. Jacob Roloff, Instagram. Jacob Roloff says he was molested by Little People, Big World producer, after long grooming process. In his recent Instagram post, Roloff voiced his gratitude for his adult life on his family's farm alongside his wife and son. Growing things and stewarding the land, he wrote, adding that he was raising my own kiddo doing the same things I used to do on the farm. He noted that the past 4 years have been insightful, both materially and retrospectively. Roloff said he grappled with learning about farming systems and equipment operation, as well as his own growing style, and he continued to reflect on what it means to live on the property after leaving the series. What is the farm without a TV crew? He mused in the caption. What can the farm be without TV? His dream is that the farm can encourage a more localised community space instead of so heavily relying on out-of-town tourism, wrote Roloff. Jacob Roloff and wife Isabel Rock. Jacob Roloff, Instagram. Jacob Roloff's family supports him after he reveals he was molested as a child. It has been fun meeting people from all over the world, but I'd also love to meet some more of our neighbours here in Oregon, he continued. What I want to do for as long as I am able is to emphasise and deepen a reform back to community-based agritourism, to contribute positively socially by growing edible food for the community and being an intermittent space for community gathering, creating useful things, and being a useful space. He concluded by underscoring his appreciation for the opportunity to steward to farm. Farmland is sacred now, Roloff said. Always learning and growing. I can only hope we have this farm for another generation.